real deregulation requirement here. The market is not projected to go down. I think it's going to go up as we speak going forward because our population growth rate is happening. The urbanization is also happening. So yes, we can produce. We have the land, we have the people, and we can do that in rotation. It's not going to be the only crop, but it's a rotation crop. We could do sunflower, soybeans very well in this country. So I think that's the opportunity. So yes, I say very positively, there is a possibility to go backward linkage into the value chain. But then government policy is also not regular because right now, what the government has done is put a 10% duty on crude palm oil, which is the main product that is used in this country. So most of the factories now said, why should you bring in crude palm oil? Why not just bring in crude olein? And that's where you process it. So even the processing plants are now working at a lower capacity in Kenya. And we are now allowing imports from Egypt to come in duty-free because that's COMESA. And therefore, we are hampered in terms of competitiveness. All the levies and taxes we charge on local production are not charged to imported product from Egypt. So in fact, there's a whole call from government to say, please move your plants to Egypt and start processing from there, and you bring it in here into Kenya duty-free. And you don't have to worry about anything in farming. So the scope, the potential is there. And I don't know how many of you are from government, but if you're from government, please do listen because the government hears us but does not listen. The fact is simply we have the technology, we have the investments. There's probably 100 billion invested in industries here in Kenya for processing, for the entire value chain. 100,000 jobs are already in this sector, right? But we're destroying these jobs because we are now much more import related. Plus, the government now has got this new smart move of importing duty-free for themselves. And they give it to some people, and you get a license for that, and you can bring in duty-free products. And does that hamper industry? It does, because that becomes non-competitive. So I'm just saying, when you look at this, we are going from Kenya to EAC, from EAC to TFTA. Then we're going to AFCFTA, which is the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, and we could export a lot. But today, as we speak, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, do not allow our edible oil products to go from Kenya because they said you have issues around your production, right? So that's where they don't believe in value addition here. So my point is that there is a huge possibility of backward linkages. There's no doubt about it. The intentions are good. The call from government is very good to say, let's go backward linkage. Let's do cotton, let's do sunflower, let's do soybean, let's do all these things. However, the actions are missing. And all I'm saying is right now, it's probably time to take action to say, fine, what are the impediments? If we were to export, we become non-competitive because now there are all these new levies and taxes all along. Just today, KEBS has introduced, I'm sure KEBS knows there's a 4 million shilling that you have to pay now for a company to KEBS. Just for the same old licenses which we used to pay 400,000 shillings. It's gone to 4 million from now on. So I'm just saying, when you look at all this, who pays for this in the end? The consumer pays for this. And therefore, if you're a manufacturer here, you get all these charges put onto you. If you're an importer, you don't get these charges. You just pay 0.2% of whatever you bring in. So when we look at value addition, absolutely possible. It can create employment. It can create a whole new gamut of what we want. But the challenges are really input costs are high, power is high. When you look at local value addition, we really don't have a serious offtake contract system for smallholder farmers. There's a whole thing I could talk about, but I think this is much more of a manufacturing conference. But to put it very clearly, we have enough capacity to not only feed Kenya, because we have 2.2 million tons per annum of capacity installed in Kenya already. We can process here and we can sell to the whole of East Africa, but we are underutilizing this. So I want to rest there and say thank you very much. But really, if this conference is meant now to let's reset ourselves, let's go out and reset and really make this happen to actually add value to local products. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO Bidiko. I think what you have said is true. We have to look at backward integration. I want to agree with you on one thing. We must have value addition, and the market must be open. I'm happy that our colleagues from trade are also here, and they know some of the issues that we look at when it comes to the area of the edible oil especially. And I think it's a discussion, we have to take it. We are not speaking to ourselves. We want to get ideas to do both forward and backward linkages to this sector. Ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate Bidco CEO for his good presentation. And I hope you'll stay so that the people here can ask you a few questions. This time I want to invite Biofoods and to give us her story. Karibu, madam.
Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Waidaranga. I'm the group director for Biofoods and Highlands and a lot of the companies within that group. So I'd like to start by first recognizing our regulator in the room, seeing Dr. Maritim from Kenya Dairy Board. Yeah. And I'm also seeing our other regulator, Esther Ngare from Kenya Bureau of Standards. So I like what Vimal said. So the thing about our country is initially we were a colony that was designed to be extractive, meaning that we were not supposed to be value adding our food within our country. We were a colony designed to take food out of the country. But then as we got independence, one of the things that happened is that we needed to start setting up value addition within our country. However, we still have an inherited mindset. We don't think about value addition and making sure that manufacturing in our country is possible. We still think in terms of how do we export? How do we make export easier? Instead of thinking about how do we make our people able to manufacture comfortably in our country and be able to export so that we are economically viable as a country. So I'm just going to take you quickly through Biofoods and backward integration model, and how we're thinking of accelerating value addition of priority value chains. So in the beginning, we always say a nation that cannot feed itself is not free. I don't know whether you guys look at the reports that come from Central Bank every year. And if you look at the balance of trade and the balance of payments, you realize that we import a lot of food as a country, things that we can actually grow ourselves, and we can actually value add ourselves, however, with the right manufacturing environment. So this challenge that we're currently facing in the dairy sector, our population is consistently growing, but agricultural productivity is not keeping pace with the demand of dairy consumption in this country. Our regulator, Dr. Maritim, will tell you, Kenya is the top country in terms of dairy production and consumption within the continent. And still, we haven't yet met demand for what is required internally and required within the continent. These are some of the issues that we are facing. We are heavily dependent on weather as a country for agriculture. So when there's drought, there's a very high demand for food, right? And when there's rain, there's a glut, and we're told that tomatoes are rotting in the farms, in the markets. We see potatoes, I think in Kinangop, they're all rotting in the farms because we haven't aligned our logistics. We haven't aligned our supply chains to be able to support what it is that we're producing in this country. We're a country of hard workers. If there's one thing Kenya is known for, it's working hard. Our farmers are diligent at producing everything that we require, whether it's tomatoes, whether it's that we cannot do this thing alone. We have to collaborate. We also collaborate with our regulator, who's present here today and has given us quite good leadership on that, and found out ways that we are able to collectively as an industry increase productivity, because Biofoods cannot do it alone. Brookside cannot do it alone. But together, we're able to collectively put our money together and push forward projects that work for us. Another thing that we've been working on, because you can't value add without stabilizing the value chain. So we've been working on increasing the literage per cow. And also, one of the things that is currently being introduced is the quality-based standard, quality-based pricing. This will ensure that the milk that we produce can be exported to other parts of the world. We also require policy reforms. I like what Vimal has said. We can, as industry, we can only do so much, but without support in terms of policy, we are running we say 1 step forward, 2 steps back. To be able to support competitiveness in the region and to boost trade, we need to relook at some of the things that we are doing. I'll give you an example. We have most of the packaging that is done in the dairy sector is imported, right? In the same breath, Dr. Maritim has given the industry a 1 billion target to export, right? But if the packaging coming into the country is at a high cost of duty, by the time we're exporting, you find that, one, we're not competitive with other people in the continent because the cost of the product in itself is expensive, yeah? So these are some of the conversations that we need to be having and creating a solution for. We also need predictability of the fiscal environment. Let me refer one more time to Vimal's speech. As manufacturers, we cannot wake up every day to new levies, to new taxes. It makes it very, very difficult to budget your P&L for the year, yeah? If we think we have a 20% or 15% productivity and then we find it's eroded because new taxes we did not even plan for have come in, after a while it becomes very, very difficult to do business. And one of the things that I ask you is that we look at the business environment in totality. Sometimes you say, yes, but we're only giving you a levy on one side. But if you consider, think about how production works. The inputs that the farmer is using for cows are already taxed. Then we have a fuel levy. Everything that you're transporting from the farm has an added levy onto it. Then we have the cost of energy, which is very high right now. By the time we come in, the milk has just reached the factory. Before we process it, there's a cost of energy. When we're thinking about packaging, we're looking at the packaging and the increased cost of packaging. By the time it's coming to the market, you can imagine how the manufacturer is strained. And yet you're dealing with a market that is telling us that they don't have money. They cannot afford the product that you're pushing to the shelf. So we're looking at a situation where we have a restrained shopper basket, but the cost of production is going up. If we truly want to industrialize this country, and if we truly, then we need to say the same concessions that we give people who are coming into our country when we're looking for foreign direct investment, we also need to support local manufacturing in the exact same way. Last but not least, in terms of value addition, academia, government, and private sector need to come together. Because one of the things government is it's a repository of information. I cannot tell you the number of times when I go to Dr. Maritim's office and I find the amount of research that they've done into dairy, into aflatoxin, into all these other elements. I'm lucky I can walk to the office and get the latest information. But most other Kenyans might not be so lucky. So we need to be sharing this kind of information. Another thing that we need to do, if we're truly going to cascade manufacturing and value addition, I love the trade agreements that our government signs with other governments. But then it's not enough to sign them. You need to publish this information so that me as a mid-sized manufacturer knows that you went and signed this agreement with this other country. What does that mean? Does it mean concessions for me? Does it mean that I can export to this country? What exactly does it mean? Information is the only way we're going to support our industry. Last but not least, dairy is one of the most lucrative industries. How many of you have a cow in your house, in your household? How many of you? Put up your hand. Are you telling me none of you guys have a cow in your house? How many of you grew up in a household where you milked cows? I'm sure there are quite a number of us. For me, I grew up in a dairy household. I was taken to school. The reason I'm standing here and educated is because of a cow, because my mother sold me. So basically it tells you that if we were to influence and if we want to have a bottom-up revolution in this country, we start with what we have. I don't know how many of you have ever gone to church. There's this parable or this story in the Bible where there's this lady who needs to pay her debts. And she's asked by the prophet, what do you have in your kitchen? And she says, I have a pot of oil. And that pot of oil is what she sells to be able to pay off her debts. As Kenya, what do we have in our kitchen? We have agriculture. If we want to industrialize this nation and make it make sense, we start with what we have. And what we have is agriculture, our potatoes, our tomatoes, our dairy. Last but not least, we also need to have an ecosystem approach. We cannot do it alone. You cannot do it alone. Government cannot do it alone. So we all need to come to the table with the different value chains and proceed to come up with a solution that makes sense for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Nganga. I think you have shared us that we see opportunities in the kitchen, and that align well with what CEO Kam said in the morning. I want to request that we stay a bit in case. I don't know whether our PSCs have come. I think we are supposed to have a couple of PSC. And I wanted the private sector to speak first before we get the PSCs or their representative. We are to have PS Dr. Paul Lono, Department of Agriculture, or representative. PS Mweke, I can't see him or his, okay. That is for PS Mweke. Okay. Then we have Mary Mwiti, CEO, COG. Let me have our colleague from agriculture. Or is this livestock? Okay, KDB, you are representing the PS. Okay, Kalibu. As he comes, I want to request that as we discuss this, I know our moderators are capturing what our colleagues are saying. We also need to understand that we can only grow this country ourselves. It is what we see, what was described in the morning as opportunities, rather than non-opportunities. So as we welcome the MD KDB, Kenya Daily Board, I want us first, we didn't clap for Madam. Can we give her a good clap? That would be bad on my side. So, see you. Karibu.
Thank you so much. I had a small presentation, but it looks like Waidera hijacked my presentation. But anyway, this synergy, because we work in the same sector, he has really emphasized the points very well. Mine is just to put a filler. I don't know whether I had given to the rapporteurs the presentation. My name is Dr. Maritim, acting CEO Kenya Dairy Board. So I think one of the priority sectors in the better agenda is dairy. This priority sector. It's one of the sectors which touches everybody. I think Waidera has put it very well, that all of you has taken tea. All of you went to school because of a cow. Or even if you don't have a cow, somebody sold a cow to give you money. And when you have a cow, you have a wife. Where I come from. Otherwise, when you don't have a cow, nobody can give you the daughter. Because that is the entry point. You first of all look at your bomber. Where is the presentation? I gave out a presentation. So as we rightly say is that, yes, I'm just being told to summarize. dairy sector actually is largely run informally. However, the little bit we are doing formally is also huge in terms of revenue generation. It actually contributes around 4% of the GDP in agriculture. So if we can to compare with tea and coffee, which is Mike talked about, I think dairy is hugely contribute a lot. It's also a nutritious commodity, and more so for our aged and the children. So it is an area which we really, the government has really focused. So many efforts have gone into it to transform that sector. You have heard the president made pronunciation in terms of subsidizing cement, in terms of sex cement, so that we get targeted production in terms of getting havers, so that we increase production. Under better, we are supposed to double production to 10 billion. Just move on, because I think we have gone far. I'm making it on behalf of our PS, Jonathan Mwege. Those are the figures which we are talking about. And as you can see, is that it's a sector which is increasing. Those are the targets we are given under better. We are supposed to export 1 billion. And Waithera has alluded to the limitations and actually the challenges they are facing in terms of getting that target. And much of it is our production is low, the cost of production is high. I think my colleague who has talked on oil is also, we are also facing the same challenges in terms of power, in terms of inputs. So in the dairy sector in particular, is that our inputs are very high, costly, as regards to but not only necessarily power, even the equipment. We are not able to compete with our colleagues or our neighbors, whereby they have zero-rated most of their equipment, most of their processing aids, while here we are charging, we zero-rated it. So you find milk across the border is cheaper, yet we are in the same customs. We are operating using the same custom laws. So then they are ingeniously trying to encourage manufacture by waiving some of those. So I hope we are talking to our colleagues here in Treasury. I think Waithera has talked about KRA. Their target is to raise money. But we want to turn it around in the flip side, that you can raise more money by zero-rating the same, so that you get more people in employment, more people doing these things, and the money get into the economy. Rather than taxing upstream, you better tax it downstairs, whereby people have already invested in manufacturing. So those are some of the challenges, and in this forum we are trying to push it. We are also having challenges in the sector in terms of quality issues. So as government, we are aggressively trying to sensitize people that there is value in producing quality products. So as dairy farmers, there is premium prices for producing the most compliant products, milk, out of which we can make many more products, rather than having milk which has got some contamination in terms of alpha-toxin and those other things which leads to losses and discarded, so that we increase our production in totality. So the government has aggressively procured cold chain, supplied some. I think currently we are doing around 250 coolers to the cooperatives, because we have realized once milk is spoiled, you cannot reverse it. So it has to be from source as it goes back to the processing plant. As a regulator also, we have encouraged small enterprises. Much as we license them, we charge them no fee, so that nearly all the youth, all the women can actually engage in processing. However, as we have talked of the inputs, we really need to regulate. In that sector, we are also interlinked with disease control. Whenever we try to export, one of the requirements on sanitary is disease control. So if there is a disease in this country which affects cattle, you cannot export. Hata ngozi, sema iko na ugonjwa fulani. So this is a whole government approach. So the Director of Veterinary Services is also with us. We go to standards. As we produce these things, we also work with KEBS. That's why we are members of those committees. And all these things are interlinked. And our sector depends and interdependent on each one of them. I mentioned Treasury or KRA. We can do as much, but without KRA, we cannot move. Yes. I think the presentations will be shared. So I just want to say, as dairy, we are on top of it, and we are appealing to this team that they give us ideas. We are welcome. Yesterday we were meeting with processors to ask ourselves, what is it that we can do together to actually propel this sector higher? And we realized that we need to do a lot of aggressive sensitization. How many of you take cheese at home? Or yogurt? I think most of you only take that when you go to a conference like this. There will be some butter, there will be some cheese. But how many of you go to supermarket and buy geese to take to your children? We are a liquid consuming country. But very few of us can take geese. We even don't know the names of those products. But when I grew up, when I was growing up, I knew my grandfather used to make ghee at home. And we used to cook using ghee. None of these young ladies knows how to make ghee. I think there was no knowledge in bathroom to the next generation. They died with it. So we need to go back. I've seen quite a number of cooperatives, especially from my place. They are coming up to make what we call mursik. So it's a very popular legacy there. That's the far they can go. And it's selling like hot cake. Those cooperatives from those sides of South Rift and North Rift. So those are some of the things. It may look small, but it will really transform the sector as we engage. So we are coming to you to encourage you to be buying this. We now want to eat milk rather than drink milk, cheese, ghee, all those. And they are very healthy, unlike these other products we are involved in. We are also competing with others called soya milk. That is not milk. It's something else. So I think that I wish to end there, but we really wish to partner with you in this journey, and let's take milk. Thank you.
Then thank you, Dr. Maritim. Thank you for that, trying to tell us that we need to integrate the whole value chain. And I'm happy that we are all here, especially the regulators in the sectors, that we can be able to do what is expected of us. At this juncture, I want to welcome the representation of the COG, Mr. Kizito. Kindly, 5 minutes so that we can save on time. Then we ask we ask the questions. We'd like to see how Mr. Fimasha is going to support backward and forward integration using the clubs that we have. So as he comes, I think we also need to know that if you have questions, kindly, we'd like to go maybe 1 or 2 questions, then we can move to the next. Mr. Kizito.
Thank you so much, moderator. As taking cue, I expected you to say it will be short, so I left my presentation there and just came with my phone. My name is Kizito Wangalwa. I work at the Council of Governors as director in charge of committees and programs, and therefore versed with our committee that deals with issues of trade, and we have interfaced a lot with our counterparts in the State Department and other agencies in the trade industrialization sector. I'll pick you from the first two presentations and speak from the heart. Sometimes it's good to lay things as they should be, they ought to be. And I think we need to ask ourselves, when you look at the backward linkages, that means you are transferring almost 100% to the county governments. Because the entire production system, be it in leather, be it for dairy, be it for crops, be it the trade development and regulation, be it disease control, be it public health. The totality of what I have mentioned is the county governments. And therefore, when we look at the necessity to review the policy environment, I think there is something that we have not yet done and done well. Our multi-level governance system. How have we helped the county governments to ensure that disease control in leather, in crops, and all other crop and animal husbandry and the trade area is sufficiently taken care of? If we pick, for example, the dairy presentation we have just had, what is the target for Marsabit in that sector, for leather, for example? And how have we enabled Marsabit to ensure that they are meeting their target in leather, and Wajir, and Bungoma, and Busia, my county, and any other county? So as we look backwards, the backward linkages, we still see a lot of supply-driven initiatives from the center, and not an aggressive whole-of-government approach where, indeed, we are telling Marsabit that Marsabit, from our estimation, this is the quantity of leather that we require. This is what you require to be able to do. Put it within your CIDP and your annual development plans. And if there is any shortcoming, then we will support you and your extension system to ensure that the production is happening. That is not happening in Kenya. Truth be told, it's not happening. And so a lot of what we really desire to do, that multi-level governance between the national and the county governments, is happening driven by some supply, some desire to roll out some cooler, to put out some Kaip there in one county, to put another. So this industrialization conversation, therefore, behoves on us, as government, to really look at the multiplicity of agencies that we have, what we do, and how then each person or each level of government remains accountable for the things that they are assigned to do for the benefit of this country. And therefore, just to conclude this discussion, we really have very good plans. But we come back and ask ourselves, are we really, again, coming back and saying the financing framework is poor? We have multiple licenses, because the counties will not run away from licensing. It is there in the law, in the constitution. Trade development and licensing is a county function. So if anybody is licensing, if anybody is regulating, you can never move away what the county is doing. But how do we then ensure that those standards that we expect are the standards that the county governments have and are enforcing through their extension system? We have that robust conversation between KEBS, for example, and the county governments on the application of standards at the local level? I would say no, or hardly. Once in a while, we have common meetings and we discuss. Do we have those standards in the dairy board that then the county government is assigned to ensure that these standards are enforced at the county level? Dairy board wants to go and do it themselves. And they are not everywhere. And the county government is everywhere in every little space, and they have that function in the county. So this, for me, is a very necessary conversation, that as the private sector is pushing for reforms that make them competitive in the industry, government also is reorganizing itself sufficiently to ensure that we create the necessary environment for the private sector to thrive. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Kisito. Let's give him a clap. I think he has brought a new dimension, multi-level cooperation between ourselves, the two layers of government, and especially if you have to make the value chains work. You have seen what KDB has given us, you saw what Biofood has said, you saw what FIMASHA gave, and then you can tell that we have a work to do. I'm not sure I have the other panelist from State Department of Agriculture. I know I had seen some officers from Agriculture. I don't know whether they were sent by the PS. The PS, sorry, were having the monthly meeting. That's why I think they delegated most of the functions with our bosses. So we excuse them, but they are equally represented. I want us to move to a very short session of straight to the point questions. And once you ask the question, kindly tell us who you are directing it to, and then we can be able to answer them. They can be answered by the panelists. My team with the mics, kindly make sure you fill the mics. You just raise your questions, then we can pick them, maybe 4 at a time, and then we go another round. We'll only do 2 rounds. And please don't repeat what has been asked. Who go first? Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Joseph Nyongesa from the Institute of Packaging Professionals, Kenya. We have had a lot of concerns about the packaging. It's an enabler, call it a silent enabler of industry, and it facilitates trade, commerce. Then we have serious issues, as our colleague from Biofoods raised, the issue of cost of packaging. And one of the issues is costs, cost of packaging, taxes, and all these endless regulations. Recently we had the plastics packaging regulations and all this. I would like it is a big concern in the country, and we need to have a national dialogue on this whole agenda of packaging, because when we talk of value addition, one of the greatest manifestations of value addition, that some products have been packaged. In fact, in our packaging circles, we say packaging goes beyond value addition, but value multiplication. So I wonder if we have the industrialization secretary here. Yeah, the industrialization secretary, isn't it? Is there any national dialogue, agenda, policy on packaging? Because packaging is a key enabler not only for local operations, but also exports. So do we have a national policy on packaging? We have had the issues in the dairy industry, and that is just one of them, but there are other serious concerns in the packaging sector of quality, affordability, and all that. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we will answer the questions. Kindly be specific so that that one I'll take it. And yes, my former colleague want to say something.
What I want to say is, I just want to know the progress, because there are some of the things which, even when we are not in the office, we get concerned. And I'm going to say in the points, only 2 minutes. One, Kenyans should change and say, eat what you grow, grow what you eat. If you do that, you develop. Be proud of what you have. Don't get excited with the foreign products. What about that one where Pimosai is producing things and there is employing people, he's paying tax, he's paying electricity? Make sure eat what you grow, grow what you eat, in order to stimulate the economy from within. 3, treat the local and foreign investor the same. If somebody comes from outside and he has been with us for so many years, forget about that one. He can come, yes, but make sure the one you have, you retain. 4, investors are not donors. Investors are not donors. They are people with the money. If he closes his company, do you think he's going to suffer? No. So you have to treat him. For those who are married, when you are getting married, you try to talk to your lady very well, telling her, I'm the best, and that's how you should treat the investor. Tell him, Kenya is the best, this is what we are offering for you, so that he can remove money from his pocket and they invest. 5th, today, the European Union has said that they are going to import products from Africa or any other country. I don't know whether those who are exporting are taking that one. Mr. Vimo, I wanted to know from you, when we did the establishment, the production capacity is not enough for that country. They cannot export their sugar to Kenya. They will not get preferential treatment. And to me, from what we hear outside, is that is not being followed. Because when you do that, you employ more people. You cannot export Ugandan sugar here and import from outside, and then you say you are importing. That's not business. That's a joke. First of all, you satisfy the local market, and if you have excess, you export. There was a caveat to that effect. The other one, the counties. There was somebody from the county here. I want to give you some work. I'm not your boss. On behalf of Kenya, we have tariffs. We have tariffs. Each country has got its own tariffs. You go to Muranga, to Usinigishu, different. And you look at the Constitution. The Constitution says, if you are going to put the tariffs in the county, the national government has to agree. It's under the Constitution. Today, this county is charging this county is charging this. It should be harmonized. I think the person was here. I don't have much to say. That's the only thing I wanted to comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kimori. Thank you for that. Any other question? please be specific. I think we are running short of time. I want to recognize the presence of the Principal Secretary, State Department of Trade, Madam Obam, and she's with us in the house. Karibu. Yes. The other question?
Yes. Good evening to the panelists. My question goes to the Industrialization Sector Secretary General. Yeah. We are here for an innovation, infrastructure, and inclusive event. And I think we have a problem as a nation because in most of the cases that we tend to try and implement the government policies, they don't reach the grassroots level. I'm speaking from experience because we've been trying to look at to the opportunities where we can get inclusive and good representation. It doesn't work. So my question was to the Industrialization Secretary, can we form a committee or an association that can at least check the progress, or is it not something that is not possible within the ministry, so that we can make sure that whatever is discussed here is at little bit implemented, and during the implementation we need to include the women, people with disabilities, and youth. Thank you.
One more question, then we answer this one.
Thank you. My name is Shem Mbwaki Viatu. I'm borrowing a cue from the CEO, Mr. Vimal, and want to echo what he said and ask specifically the Ministry of Industrialization on the following. One, Mr. Vimal said that there is a contradiction in policy, such that when the manufacturer is bringing in raw materials, they are penalized. When it is produced, a complete product from Egypt is attracting 0. That is where we are. That is the status. What I'm asking is, and again, our good lady from the dairy said, that the government listens and does nothing about it, so much so that you think that they are not even listening. Number two, and then we who are here in the industry are penalized for working here. So we import all the jobs, oil comes complete, Vimal is here trying to employ. Instead of encouraging to employ and all the others, what happens is, ongeza tax. Ni kitu ingine gani analete? Ongeza tax. By the end of the day, it becomes very uncompetitive. I'm asking, is the government ready to listen? One, to legislate. Two, to implement what the industry is asking. That's my question today. That is my submission. Are they ready? Or we'll talk, and then after that one, Mr. Vimal Shah will go close another line, and then we'll get another ship full of edible oils in Mombasa.
Thank you for your comment and concern. Let me tackle the few ones I can, and then since my senior is here, she will tackle the ones that are related to trade. On the issue that was raised initially on packaging, I think under Kenya Association of Manufacturing or Manufacturers, we have been having meetings over the same. I think it's one issue that we have been tackling because of the many variations that have been coming in, including application of the duty remission. I want to assure you, I think we have a meeting slated to meet and agree on some of the issues that have been raised by the packaging sector. I have a letter from CAM. They want us to look at that. It affects all sectors. I do agree with you on that. The other question I can slightly talk about is on reasoning. I think the government is a reasoning government. That is why even we have this conference. Otherwise, we are not reasoning, we will not be here. However, we are open to getting what is needed or what need to propel what we are doing from both the investment, trade, and industry. I think that one I can assure you, as a ministry, we are there for you, and we are there to protect you. I want to agree with what Mr. Kimuri has said. I co-chaired the African Industrialization Week 2013, so I know him. He is a former one of us and still an industry. So what he is saying is true. We need to look even exactly what also it was said by the CEO come in the morning, that you see opportunities, not the other way around. In terms of registration, I think, let me say, we have been trying to address some of those challenges. I know last year we did Business Law Amendment Act, which was assented by His Excellency on 27th of December last year, and it really addressed some of the concerns. We are still open, and the PS trained is here. She can maybe comment on a few, then I can allow the panelists to say something on what concerns them. Madam PS. Can I get a mic, please?
Well, good evening, everyone, and my apologies. I didn't know I was coming in to be put on this spot. I was actually coming in for the session that was beginning at 4 p.m. But I just want to indicate here that we must also understand that in as much as we are a sovereign nation, we are also aligned to the economic blocks that we are members to, and they do have protocols that are followed when it comes to trade. So as a country, we push as much as possible to ensure that we are competitive from an export perspective, and really pushing the agenda of industrialization is key to us, with an understanding that the environment has changed immensely, that even those countries that used to import quite a lot from us now are actually producing what they were importing, and therefore we really need to work around our competitiveness. In that case, therefore, we are actually pushing the industrialization policy that will allow for legislation and that will allow for manufacturing to grow. I do understand the feeling that government is non-responsive, but I just want to assure you that government is not silent. We grind slowly, but we ensure that we deliver on the promises that Kenyans have asked us to, taking cue from what His Excellency the President is pushing for, transformation from a bottom-up perspective, and therefore really getting our industrial sector to grow is a priority when it comes to our thinking. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam PS. I think members, you'll allow me not to proceed so much because of the time, but I would like the panelists, if there is anybody who has something which he or she can touch, maybe for a minute, then we'll retire this session.
thank you very much, Madam PS, and of course dignitaries here. I think the issues are very clear. We have issues, and I think we need to solve them. So wherever we have problems, we need to solve them. And I think the issue is about competitiveness. And I think very well addressed by Madam PS. Competitiveness of our industry is up to us. It is not up to other governments. It's up to us. And we are in the EAC, we are in AFCFTA, we are in TFTA, we are in all those regimes. And we have market access to various markets, even EU. But the point is, our own competitiveness in Kenya is up to us. And this is where we, I think, echo that our government needs to make sure, not only hear us, but listen to really address these issues and kill them, because if we don't do this, we will lose jobs. And I think the time for reset is now. And I talk about even county governments and, national government. For us, in the private sector, it's one government. There are not two governments. So we don't see them as, oh, this is county, this is national, and therefore we talk separately. No, unify the whole lot. Sorry to say this, if necessary, let's make it such that it's one government, right? If it means county governments no more, fine, whatever it means. But I'm just saying, the point is unify so that there is one system to make Kenyan jobs far better and far more productive. And in fact, if all the regulations you talked about, Mr. COG representative, my point would be this. If all the licenses that you give in the county, if there was zero fees to be paid for that, no cost, no charges to be paid for that, you yourself would remove half of them. Therefore, all I'm saying is let's not become toll stations and really collect tolls from people on licensing, but really add value. And I think people want services now, we want competitiveness. In fact, the government has attacked the payroll, so our people's payroll has gone down by 15% because of all these other taxes, levies, whatever we put on, housing levy, SHA, whatever. That is not resulting into consumption increasing. Why? Because consumption is going down. And that's what we need to restore. Two ways to do it. One could be just increase all salaries by 20%, and that solves that problem. Or let's make sure we have competitiveness here. So thank you very much, and I think there are opportunities. There is no doubt that Kenya, we have opportunities. We have the human capital, we have the people, we have enough intellectual capital, we can do it. But let's not degrade ourselves, let's not become lesser, and really let's lift up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, panelists. Let's give them a hearty clap. Karibuni, and thank you for your insight. I think we look forward to implementing what we have discussed today. Due to the time constraint, I wish to call the next panel. I know it is time, and I request everybody to stay, if possible, so that we can go to the next panel. I'll try to be very fast. The next session is on innovation, research, development, and commercialization. I want to invite the following panelists. I think the seats are down here. The MD Kildi, MD Kebs, Kenya CEO, VC Dekut, VCUN, James Mwangi from the National Polytechnic. Karibuni. CEO Kenas. Have I left any other person? CEO Kenas. Dr. Ogeshi, karibu. Let's welcome our CEOs on innovation, who will be leading us on the theme of innovation, research, development, and commercializations. Karibu, Daktari, VC, Prof, Madam Esther, and Dr. Hisa. Yes, karibuni. I think we'll try to be brief and short. And thank you for accepting to come for this. I think Kenyans look forward to you giving us the solutions to the issues that pertain to manufacturing as per the theme of this year. I'll go straight to the questions, and I'll start with the acting CEO Kildi. But what you'll do when I ask you a question, you'll basically first introduce yourself, tell us what is your role in this, and then you'll answer the question. Yes. Kiridi is at the forefront of industrial research and technology development. What initiatives are being implemented to support commercializations and strengthen Kenya manufacturing base? That is your questions. The one that will go to Madam Esther from KEBS. Standard drives quality and competitiveness. How is KEBS supporting manufacturers to meet international standard and enhance access to global market? The one going to Mr. Tony Omwasa, acting CEO Kenya. I hear he is online. Innovation remains the backbone of industrial growth. How is Kenya aligning Kenya's innovation ecosystem with industrial priorities to accelerate? Then the other question goes to Daktari next to me. How can accreditation support innovation and research by ensuring quality, trust, and competitiveness in Kenya industrial product and services? And this goes to VC Dekut as a premier technology university. How is Dedan Kimathi University fostering applied research and innovation to support industrial growth? We don't have Madam from University of Nairobi, but this can also go to Dekut because they are universities. The University of Nairobi, but now it is Dekut, has long been a leader in research excellence. What progress has been made in translating academic research into market-ready industrial solution? And on the same, you know what one of the panelists asked, the weak industrial academia research linkages. This go to, I think you'll also take this one from the Technical University, because USC is also a technical university of Kenya, has a strong focus on practical training. How is the institution deepening research industry linkages for technology-driven industrial growth? And CEO Kildi, you can also chip in there. I think those are the panelists I have. I can start in order I started asking questions. Dr. Kisa.
Thank you very much, Professor. I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Dr. Kelvin Hisa. I'm the Acting Director General of the Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute, KIRDI. Our mandate is basically to do industrial research and translate the findings for the benefit of our Kenyan SMEs and big companies. and I'm basically glad to have been invited here to share some of the things that we are doing for the benefit of sustainable industrialization. Number one is that KIRDI is doing a lot of activities to support industry, and these activities are listed as follows. We are involved in skills development, so that we are basically working with the private sector to build their skills, and some of these skills are green skill sets. Number two, we are involved in product development. So we work with Kenyan SMEs to enable them develop quality products that can secure standards from the Kenya Bureau of Standards. Then number three, we have infrastructure for business incubation, and we also have infrastructure for common manufacturing facilities. So it's our desire that all the young people who are here can come to KIRDI, those benefiting from the Nyota program, to be able to share from this kind of setup. Now, in order for us to do this, we have a set of infrastructure in place. I just want to quickly, in the interest of time, list a few. We have a cookstove testing laboratory. So this laboratory will test whether your cookstove is efficient or not, and therefore, if you are in this space, you can come for testing. Number two, we also have the biogas testing laboratory. So if you want to invest in biogas renewable energy, you can come and test your substrates in KIRDI. We are also in general laboratory analysis of wastewater and other materials. So please, if you want to do any tests, you can come over to us. Now, what's our contribution to inclusive sustainable industrial development? As an institute, we are very active in the promotion of resource-efficient, cleaner production. We work with the industry to enable them be more energy efficient, water use efficiency, harvesting and storage, waste minimization and management, and basically to switch to renewable energy solutions. Now, for the inevitable waste, we work with close proximity companies to exchange wastes and byproducts through industrial symbiosis. We also are very active in the green and circular economy innovation promotion, where we are saying that when companies are close together, waste from one can be a raw material for the other, and therefore that will help us close the loops and boost the productivity and competitiveness of our companies. We are also tapping into the blue economy space so that we can promote circular economy within that space. We are also partnering with our parent ministry, that is MITI, to come up with county aggregation and industrial parks that are very functional. So we are injecting the ideas of green economy, circular economy, so that these types can become eco-industrial types, those that don't pollute the environment. I want to say that we are working very well with the SME sector. We work with them, prepare them, so that they can get the CAPE standard, which enables them to penetrate national and regional markets. It's our wish that we green all the special economic zones that are coming up, export processing zones, so that they're able to attract green foreign direct investments. And I want to proudly say that most of the exhibitors that we have today are basically graduates from KIRDI, coming out of our common manufacturing facility support as well as incubation support. So we are very active in the better focus sectors of agro-processing, leather processing, textile value addition. So we look forward to working with you, ensuring that you make more from less through enhanced resource efficiency for purposes of boosting your productivity and competitiveness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Acting CEO. Let's give him a clap. I think what he needs to do is he needs to be known so that in the way we talk of others, when you talk KRA, even a young child will know who is KRA. For all those aspects you have said, I think KIRDI should be known like KRA or KEBS for standards. Madam Esther.
Thank you so much, Professor. Let me start by introducing myself, Esther Ngare, the Managing Director for Kenya Bureau of Standards. And for Kenya Bureau of Standards, our mandate includes trade facilitation, where we do development of standards, harmonization of standards to make sure that we have standards that are able to help in trade, that our manufacturers can sell locally and can also access the international market. So we harmonize our standards to international standards. We also do consumer protection, a very important aspect of our mandate, which enables our consumers to trust what is coming out of the industries. It is one of the regulatory aspects of our work, that the consumers then are able to have products in the market, and they don't have to worry that whether a manufacturer has met the standards or not. And in that, we have the product certification schemes where products that are placed in the Kenyan market have to have the standardization mark, as well as import standardization mark for all the products getting to the country. So yet all entry points to check any product getting to the country that it meets the Kenyan standards. On the question on how KEBS is supporting manufacturers, I'll speak in two ways. One of the things that we are doing as Kenya Bureau of Standards is to shift from the traditional regulator to strategic partnership in industrial growth. By strategic partnership, what I mean is that we are supporting the manufacturers in terms of being able to meet the requirements of the standard, both technical support as well as working with the manufacturers and especially the MSMEs, so that then they are able to meet the requirements of the standard, get their products certified, and therefore they can access both the local and the international markets. We have also been doing capacity building, and especially for MSMEs, so that they know exactly what is required. They understand the standards that have been developed. Sometimes standards can be quite technical, and therefore we assist them to understand what these standards are and how they are able to meet them. We also have state-of-the-art laboratories which have been accredited, and using these labs, then our manufacturers are able to access services, testing services at a price that is affordable within the country. There's another critical aspect of Kenya Bureau of Standards that a number of people might not know, and is the fact that we are the WTO National Inquiry Point. By this, our National Inquiry Point, we are able to get information from all the members of WTO on any changes, regulatory changes happening by all members. And once we receive this information, then we disseminate to the various industries. This information helps our manufacturers to be ready in terms of any changes that might be coming up. And also we disseminate the information from our local manufacturing and other regulators, also to all other WTO members, just to help them get ready. And therefore, any measures that are changing within our country or changing within the WTO members, then using the National Inquiry Point, we normally disseminate that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Esther. Thank you for that. Fisi Dekut.
Thanks a lot, Professor Katembe, for this invitation, and also for welcoming me as Vice Chancellor Dedan Kimathi, University of Technology, to participate in this forum. My name is Professor Engineer Nganga Muchiri, the VC of DICUT, and Dedan Kimathi University of Technology is the most specialized university in this country and the region, and our specialization is on tech. 92% of our programs are in technology, and even the 8%, I would say it's technology related because it's business. And if you want to commercialize technology, you have to combine technology and commercialization. And what we are building in Dedan Kimathi University of Technology is an innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem model. And we know that is a major driver of industrial transformation in the country, and also a major driver of driving the economy of the country. What we are doing in DICUT is very special, because in the DICUT we are developing a science and technology park. The government of Kenya right now is developing 2 science parks, technology parks, Konsa Technopolis as number 1, and the second one is Dedan Kimathi University Science and Technology Park. And when this development was started, we realized that we have to redefine our role as a university of technology. And you know, traditionally, universities are there to build the human capital, and basically the teaching and our key performance indicator over the years were the number of graduates we are able to churn. But for a university of technology, we realized that we have to redefine our key performance indicators to look at more of value-driven research in terms of applied research, looking at real problems in the society and the industry, and developing real solutions that can address and provide solutions to those problems. So our research model moves from industrial or practical-driven research to products, innovations, and our key performance indicator that is very important is the value-added research. We also look at the number of patents and intellectual property rights we are able to generate. But what is very important is what we call MVP, minimum value product. And I'm glad the CEO of KEBS is here, and we've been partnering with KEBS and also with KILDI, and especially in certification of the products that we are able to develop in the university. Once you have the minimum value product, what is very important is create an ecosystem for commercialization of technology, and the Science and Technology Park is a very important driver. One of the things we have basically to support industrialization in the country, we created an ecosystem. We started with incubators. We have the DICUT Incubation Hub, where every student with an idea and staff are given a maker space where they can develop, grow the idea, and develop a product and a solution. We also have a DICUT Startup Center, which now takes the incubated ideas and take them to the market. But the major game changer is the DICUT Science and Technology Park. We have 3 thematic areas we are pursuing. The first one, we call it DMM, Design, Materials, and Manufacturing. And that's very major and very well aligned to what the Ministry of Trade and Industry is certainly doing, because what addresses the question of manufacturing and the competitiveness is the value chain approach. Every product starts with a raw material, and we have to, takes several value addition chains all the way to the final products. One of the most successful areas that we are developing, and it's something that is quite unique and interesting in the country, is in the value chain of electronic industry development. When we started the DICUT Science and Technology Park, the first thing that came in was the Semiconductor Technologies Limited, and this one is the first microchip fab lab, not only in Kenya, but also in the whole continent of Africa. It is here there in DICUT, and we did a major partnership, first of all, in developing the relevant human capital to drive this industry. We have trained over 300 engineers who are competent in semiconductor manufacturing, and we realized that we can even move further from the microchip to the design of motherboards, and I'm glad, again, KEBS was the first to satisfy the state-of-the-art speed governor. When the telematic speed governor came in the country, DICUT was the first institution to enter into the design and development. Since then, we have developed other products. If you grabbed a matatu, maybe it was being driven by a speed governor from Dedan Kimathi University of Technology. I also mentioned about industry and university partnership, because it's a very important driver, because industry and the same also as government, they are the major consumers. They have the needs, they need the products, they need the solutions. And what I would also want to encourage, I know many industries are here, they are listening, before we import any solution, we have homegrown solutions that can be developed in this country. I know the CEO, Kirdi, will agree with me. There is so much we can do in this country. We have human capital, we have the skills, or we require are good opportunities for what we call co-design and co-development. And allow me to quote a very good partnership we have with the KEFRI, Kenya Forest Research Institute. And I mentioned them because they decided that if they require any equipment for value addition in the wood value chain, they will not import. They come to DICUT. Now we have done different projects. For example, when they realized that for the country to attain the 15 billion tree target, the major bottleneck was the number of seedlings that the country can be able to produce. We have now generated for them different kinds of seed harrows. They are already in production, certified by KEBS, and they have fast-tracked the production of their seedlings. So we have capacity in DICUT. We also have specialized centers that are dealing with the real industrial problems and developing solutions. We have 28 in total, spread in the area of manufacturing, the area of agri-tech, and the area of ICT technologies. And all these are an important ecosystem of addressing value addition in the country. So I believe this is the way forward, and that's the only way we can develop this country, because it's only manufacturing that creates wealth, creates value jobs, and also create opportunities for empowering our bulging youth population, and that is the only way that we can grow this country and take it to the next level. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you for that. I think you have also tackled some of the good areas. Let's give him a hearty clap. And thank you for putting collaboration to the next level. This goes to Daktari next to me. I see you, Kenas.
Thank you so much, Professor Gatebe. Allow me at this juncture to recognize and appreciate the protocol that had been established earlier on, and begin by putting across the mandate of Kenya Accreditation Service. Kenya Accreditation Service is a state corporation established by the laws of Kenya, and it is established to assess and accredit and oversight entities that are called conformity assessment bodies. Now, usually, I find it very difficult to explain what a conformity assessment body is, but my colleagues have assisted me today. Because when Kirdi was explaining, my brother Dr. Hisa explaining all those tests that they undertake, those activities that Kirdi undertakes are conformity assessment activities. When my sister Esther was explaining the certification of the products that they undertake, the inspection activities that they undertake, and also the testing laboratories that she was talking about, those are conformity assessment activities. Because those entities then are checking that what an entity is undertaking conforms to the required standard. And again, my sister Esther explained very well what standards are about. And finally, my brother Professor Mashiri has explained what KEBS will go and do, which is to certify those products and so forth. So our mandate, therefore, is to check the conformity assessment body to confirm that it has competence to undertake what they say they undertake. So much so that then if you go to Kirdi for testing, you have that comfort that they have that competence to test, that they have the equipment, those equipment are properly calibrated, and it is for purposes of giving a third-party assurance and for acceptability, not only within the country, but across the globe. And this is also then to ensure that the consumer is protected and therefore proper public health is guaranteed, but also to avoid costs that come with retesting, recertification, re-verification of products and services as they move from or across the entire value chain. Part of then our clients, which are certification bodies, inspection bodies, and testing bodies, include not only testing for the general testing like the one Kirdi will be undertaking, but also even medical laboratories and so forth. And this then ensures that the cost of doing business is also reduced. And we are very proud of our mandate, because then we are increasingly ensuring that the manufacturers, producers of goods and services, and also the consumers are protected accordingly. Let me now delve into the question that was asked in terms of how accreditation would support innovation and research in terms of enhancing competitiveness, and quickly say that innovation and research are all meant to serve a certain purpose. In this case, if we are talking about industrial products, goods and services, we are talking about what Vimal was referring to, goods that are supposed to be used in the country, driving the economy and also creating employment. And so research, for the sake of just research, that we leave to academics, and it has its role to play. But if we are going to conduct industrial research, if we are going to innovate goods, products, and innovation in this case, then we are talking about creative destruction. How do you relook at a bulb that is consuming 40 watts, to a 7 watt and still get the same illumination? How do you spend less energy for production? And therefore, these research outputs should be those that then are acceptable across the country, and also acceptable globally, because these products and services are not only meant for domestic consumption, but also we should be producing and manufacturing for the region and for the globe. And therefore, accreditation gives that third-party assurance to ensure that the goods and services that come as a result of this innovation and creativity can be acceptable in the marketplace. Remember that we Kenyans and East Africans are not just meant for ordinary goods and services. We are not just meant for mediocrity. We are meant to also maximize on good quality. And therefore, the accreditation also gives that particular assurance. Finally, Prof, it is important to note that most of the universities do collaborative research. For acceptability of the results of such research, if you are undertaking your tests at Dedan Kimathi University with a collaborating partner who is at Shanghai Jiatong University, and you are undertaking tests on, let's say, a dairy product, and you find your certain results from that test, and you're comparing it so that you have a joint finding with somebody in Shanghai, Jiatong. For that acceptability, your machines should be calibrated to a certain traceable measure. And so that traceability and certainty is only brought about by accreditation. We should be able to mention that KENAS is a signatory member of the International Laboratories Accreditation Corporation and the International Accreditation Forum, which have now merged to be the Global Accreditation Corporation. This means that the results for the entities that are testing here or certifying here are accepted among all member countries currently shooting beyond 160 member states. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. I think you have really elaborated well. We have one participant online, CEO KENAS, and as you answer your question, I would also like you to tackle what partnership with local industries or TVETs are providing effective in accelerating product development and prototyping. CEO Kenya. I was told the CEO Kenya is online. ICT. For the interest of time, is the CEO Kenya available? Okay, I think has dropped off. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, CEO, Prof. And I would like to ask you maybe each one closing question. I'll start with Madam Esther. In one sentence, what is the single most important action Kenya should take in the next year to raise manufacturing GDP share and position itself as a globally competitive industrial hub?
Thank you so much, Professor. That's a very important question, and we should all focus on that. And the single most important thing that we need to look at is how do we harmonize and adopt and utilize the standards with international standards, so that then we are able to access the markets, not just the local markets, but also the global markets. And for now, I am actually looking at the AFCFTA. It's a bigger market. And if we access the African market and increase the current intra-African trade from the 16% we are currently in, that is a market that will be able to grow our GDP. There are, if you look at the African countries, you find majority of them are actually bringing in products from Europe, from other continents, whereas those are products that we can produce here in Kenya and be able to supply. So why are we not doing it? We need to make sure that as a country, we prioritize, and especially in terms of the mutual recognition of certifications that we are issuing here in Kenya, and the certificates which are being issued by other African countries, so that we don't have to retest the product as it accesses the other African markets.
Thank you, Madam Esther. As we conclude, VC Dekut, how can Kenya improve collaboration between academia, industry, and government, the triple helix, to strengthen commercialization pathways in less than 1 minute?
Yeah, thank you. That's a very important question, because it's through collaboration that industry and the university and the government can co-work together. I know the director, Kenas, was talking about the collaborative research, which is very important, and we have taken it a step further. We are encouraging industry, university, co-designing of problems, because that is the only way you can do when you are doing applied research targeted towards a minimum value product. We are also ready for co-creation of solutions, and that is the only way we can move the country forward. Personally, as an engineer, I believe that we have imported in this part of the world for too long and too much. And I personally believe there are things we should not or never import, which we should encourage a system for local value addition. And to help and encourage also the growth of manufacturing GDP, we also need to convince the local investors that there is an opportunity for investment in local value addition. And I'm just looking at you, Professor, maybe if you get 1 billion today, where would you put that money? Or you give each one of us an opportunity, where would they put that money? Very few people of us maybe have ideas of where they can invest in manufacturing value addition. There's a lot of sensitization required to the local investor that investing in manufacturing value addition is a good opportunity that provides opportunity for the country growth and also for job development and creation. So there's a lot of investor education that is required. We are collaborating with India Institute of Technology, and I was quite impressed what I saw there, from very basic products to even high value products. Even the military in India is developing military hardware right inside the university. They don't need to invest, to import, they can co-develop and can co-design in the industry. And finally, we need the venture capital, because in manufacturing, you need the venture capital to drive that. And we can encourage as much as local investment as possible. Nobody will come to develop this country for us, Professor. It's us, Kenyans, who have to take our resources and the opportunities that are there to develop our country.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you for that insight. In one sentence, Dr. Kisa, less than a minute. What linkages do we need for TFET, for Kiridi to spark growth? In 30 seconds, please. Time is of essence.
Thank you, Prof. I think there's this famous thing called quadruple helix. If we have to get a functional innovation ecosystem, then we must bring together academia, industry, civil society, and government together. So when those work together, they will create an innovative and functional innovation ecosystem that will drive innovation. I just also want to add, Prof, with your permission, that most of our industrial activities are wastefully linear. So moving forward, we must promote eco-innovation that will push us towards becoming resource efficient circular, so that we are treating waste as a resource and repurposing it, remanufacturing it, and using it as a secondary product. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Dr. Ogeshi, in one sentence, what reforms do we need to create stronger innovation to market pipeline?
I believe that we need to sustainably open the silos that currently exist between academia, industry, regulators, and the marketplace, the consumers, so that at the end of the day, we are talking to each other, and not just talking, but also getting into the real action of doing what we say and saying what we do. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists. We have come to the end of the session. Thank you for your time. I know we are out of time. My boss, PS Street, is here, and I think we have kept her for more than an hour. Sorry, Madam PS, I think we request your indulgence to be patient with us. We want to go to your session, and I want to thank the panelists. I'm told there is a gift to be given to the panelists as we proceed. I want the team to bring the gift very fast so that we can, and thank you. It's a token of appreciation of your time. I know you are going to link up, especially the teams that are here, and let's drive the innovation manufacturing forward. Karibuni. Yes. Can I get the Madame Kerry? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Let's clap again for them. I will request we stay in. Our PS is here. I would like to continue to the last session. Karibu. Thank you. Thank you. I want us to move to the last session. I request your indulgence. We can stay. And this is, the theme is market access and trade facilitation to increase market export opportunities and unlock barriers. This one, our PS, State Department for Trade, will give a presentation, and then we'll have high-level panel discussions. I'll request after Madame talks, maybe she'll, we can sit around, and then we have the panel discussion. I'll still moderate the same on behalf of Mandu, who is under Madame PS. We have Mr. Humphrey Watanga, or his representative, Commissioner General, Kenya Revenue Authority, Mr. Richard Ipelu Omelu, Chief CEO, EPZA. We have Mr. Jas Bedi, Chief Executive Officer, Bedi Investment. John Mwenda, I have seen him, OGW, CEO, Kenya Invest. We also have Mr. K.K. Mutai, Acting CEO, Kenya National Chambers of Commerce and Industry. I also have Ms. Judy Warui, Regional Managing Director, Acquiring East Africa, and Frais Mukabana, CEO, Keproba. Kindly come to the front. Let's welcome Madam PS, State Department for Trade, with the hearty clap. And we apologize for keeping you more than an hour of our expected schedule. Kalib, Madam PS.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Secretary Industry. And I think the apology should not be to me. The apology should actually be to you, the audience, who have really kept yourselves in this place for all this time. And so I want to also extend my apology as a stakeholder and appreciate you for your patience. I was invited to this session to give a keynote, and it is my understanding that when you give a keynote, from it then it raises some questions for the panelists to make discussions on. So I'll just go straight to my address. Ladies and gentlemen, the manufacturing sector grapples with challenges like the high cost of energy and unpredictable tax and regulatory environments. This therefore means that we must commit to structural reforms that stabilize the fiscal landscape and provide competitive incentives thereby boosting productivity and dynamism in our export sector. For too long, the narrative of African trade has been defined by fragmentation. Now we stand at the threshold of transforming that narrative into one of continental integration, industrial power, and shared prosperity. Our goal during this Industrialization Week is clear: to accelerate our industrial capacity and ensure that what we produce can flow seamlessly, firstly to a market of 1.5 billion people with a cumulative GDP of $3.4 trillion. And that is the African Continental Free Trade Area, where, according to the Economic Survey of 2025, Africa is still accounting for approximately 38% of Kenyan exports. So market access is even more than just eliminating tariffs. It's about guaranteeing a predictable, rules-based environment for our businesses to sell their goods. So the AfCFTA is the single greatest opportunity for Kenya since independence. Our historical focus on exporting primary commodities must now shift decisively towards value-added manufacturing. Our export potential as a country is massive in sectors like pharmaceuticals, automotive components, agricultural, livestock, manufacturing, chemicals, and electronics. So we have already taken the first steps, piloting the guided trade initiative by successfully exporting Kenya-made batteries, value-added tea, turbines, aluminum foils, plastic products to several destinations, including Ghana, Senegal, South Africa, and Mozambique, among others, under the AfCFTA framework. So what does this tell us? That market access actually unlocks economies of scale. So we must deliberately foster regional value chains, sourcing raw materials across Africa, manufacturing in Kenya, and exporting the finished product continent-wide and to the rest of the world, where we have negotiated preferential treatments. And therefore, this requires our special economic zones and our export processing zones to become hubs for global production. Also, the potential of a zero-tariff market means nothing if the cost and time of moving goods across borders remains prohibitively high. This is where trade facilitation steps in. While we celebrate the reduction of tariffs, we must acknowledge that non-tariff barriers often cost businesses 4 or 5 times more than the tariffs they replace. And in that case, therefore, we must ensure that we work towards elimination of non-tariff barriers so that they don't inconvenience us, but they actually catalyze economic growth and direct contribution to the GDP growth. So while we negotiate market access externally and facilitate trade at our borders, we must also look inwards. Export opportunities cannot be maximized if our own domestic industrial ecosystem is encumbered by internal friction. So I'm looking forward to the panelists, based on this keynote address that I've given, to really give us more insights on aspects of export competitiveness, issues to do with comparative advantage, cost of doing business, and product diversification. I hope with that address that I'll be able to get some good insights that can actually help us transform the Kenyan economy to one that is an industrialized economy. Thank you very much.
Let's give our PS State Department for Trade a hearty clap. And thank you, Madam PS. I think we really appreciate your time. Let me join the panelists, I think, so that we can proceed. Thank you from the the keynote address by Madam PS, I think we go straight to the panelists, and some of them I don't know them. Probably they'll do the introduction, and I will move as I did the previous panel. We'll first start with this one with the introduction, so we know who is who. Apart from John and Madam here, I think the rest don't know them. We'll start from Madam at the light heart. Kindly introduce yourself and the institution.
Thank you, Professor. I'm Teresa Wanjagua, in charge trade facilitation from Kenya Revenue Authority, representing Mr. Watanga.
I'm Judy Warrero. I'm from Network International, the regional MD for East Africa. We're a digital payment provider across 50 markets in Middle East and Africa. And we support the backbone of every business by supporting payments, digital payments.
Thank you, Madam.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alisa Togo from Export Processing Zones Authority, representing the CEO, Mr. Richard Omelu.
Karibu.
My name is John Mwendo, CEO Kenya Investment Authority, also now known as Invest Kenya.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Agayo Ogambi. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the Shippers Council of Eastern Africa and also the Chair for Mombasa Community Port Charter. Thank you.
Karibu.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Fatma Bashir from the Kenya National Chambers of Commerce and Industry. I'm the Head of Trade Development and Facilitation. Thank you.
Thank you. Karibu all. And sorry, I think we are 1 hour late, but we are serving the nation. I want to start with our colleague from Kenya Revenue Authority, Madam. KRA play a key role, a pivotal role in trade facilitation. What key reforms are underway to improve customs processes, enhance compliance, and promote seamless trade flows? And bear in mind, I don't know where you are there during the sessions, second last, where the manufacturers were raising more or less the same questions. So how are you addressing the issue? In 1 minute or so.
Thank you, Professor. Once again, I heard you say that people know Kenya Revenue Authority. I don't know whether there's any need of introducing our mandate, because you all know what we do on behalf of the government.
Yes.
But trade facilitation is one of our mandate, and actually I'm the in-charge acting deputy commissioner of that division, which is domiciled in a customs and border control department. To answer your question, we usually have 2 arms, that is exports and imports. And the objective of trade facilitation is to modernize, standardize, and simplify processes pertaining imports and exports. And what we do as a KRA is to automate our processes, because we realize that there's a need to embrace technology, and for us to do so and to achieve efficiency and effectively carry out our mandate, then we need to automate our processes. So KRA, all our systems, they're all automated. And apart from automation, we also work together with other partner government agencies. We can't do away with them. We need each other. And so what we do is to integrate our system with their system for a smooth operation of our processes. So starting with the first arm of the exports, to be specific to the question, we have a number of initiatives, but the recent one is trade logistic information pipeline. For this one is for transparency. I've just alluded that we work in partnership with other government agencies, and for us to have that transparency of what we do, then we embrace that exchange of data, and of course it has to be aligned with the technology enforcement. Recently we have introduced, we are calling it BEEP, B-E-E-P, which is Business Environment and Export Enhancing Program. And for this one, we are promoting exports for the purpose of economy development. And just like all of you have said that we are here to support our economy. And specifically on the vegetable. Why vegetable? Is because of the vulnerability of that product. If you don't export your vegetables today, tomorrow they will be spoiled. So we as KRA, we are supporting the society in that. Then recently on the exports again, we have developed Sea Cargo, PGA. PGA is a partner government agency, SLA, and again this is for the purpose of the efficiency and effectiveness of clearance of cargo to ensure that we minimize the cost of doing business for the traders. On the exports again, I think it should be the KEBS person who talks about the AFCFTA, the trade blocks. So for that we have launched in October last month the E-Certificate of Origin, and this one again is for efficiency and effectiveness of our operations, and the aim is to digitize and streamline the issuance of certificate for exporters under the preferential trade arrangement. Now for the imports, I may not go too far, like for example the trade logistic information pipeline, it is in both arms. It is in exports and imports, where we know the smart gates through the borders. Manning the border stations is also one of our mandate, and so what we have done is introduction of the putting the smart gates in place to ensure that, especially for the fuel, that clearance is done as fast as possible. The AI, to embrace technology, we have introduced AIA, and especially on the scanning of the consignments. This again saves a lot of time. E-customs, and this focus is on the small traders. We realize if you look at our economy, bottom there, the greatest at the base, they are the small traders. Up there, they are these small traders. So we realized that the small traders, for a long time, they had not been dealt very much. So we as KRA, we have introduced the e-customs, and where people will be using WhatsApp, even a phone, just to do your trade while you are just in your comfort zone. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. You have introduced to Kenyans to know there is BEEP, and the other one I didn't get it right. Yes, and thank you. I think the cabinet secretary in the morning said that what you are doing is very important to us, especially on clearing of the cargo. I'm happy our principal secretary in charge of trade is here, and because the clogging was really, the CS emphasized on that in the morning, that you are coming up with a system which will help us. Once the queue become long, the system can be able to report. Thank you for that. We move to EPZA, Madam. What strategies are being implemented to attract export-oriented investment and expand processing capacity?
Okay, thank you. Export Processing Zones Authority, for those who do not know, is a government agency that is mandated to promote and facilitate export-oriented investments and to ensure an enabling environment for such investments. This is an incentivized program, and we are under the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry. under the export promotion, there are many strategies that the government is putting in place. One of them is to the creation of free zones, free incentivized zones like EPZs and SEZ, where companies are able to produce within the benefits of the that the government have given, both fiscal and non-fiscal. Fiscal are the revenue related, like for EPZs, the first 10 years is 0% corporation tax, but market access is limited to 20% for domestic. When you are coming into the EPZ, you must come with the aim to export at least 80%. We also have VAT exemptions and excise and import duty exemptions. The aim of these fiscal incentives is to ensure competitiveness and to reduce the cost of doing business. Because whoever you are dealing with, you are competing with, like China, you will find that their cost of productivity is very high, so they are able to produce at a cheaper price. We have not reached there yet, but that is why we are giving the incentives. The government has also put in place infrastructure development initiatives. Before going to Mombasa, where the ships are, you would take 2 days. But with SGR, 5 hours maximum, your goods have come from Nairobi and they are in Mombasa. To reduce the congestion at the coast, we also have new ports that are coming up at the coast. And the government is doing infrastructure development all around the country. Because you will find that EPZs are not only in Athi River, but they are spread across 23 different counties. You can get, there's an EPZ in Rumuruti. That means they need a road to come either from Rumuruti to the airport or to Mombasa. And the government is doing their best to increase the railway line and the roads and even the ports. Now we have 3 international airports in Kenya. Something else that the government is doing is that we are doing trade facilitation in collaboration with KRA, with KEBS, with Kentrade, and what the government has put in place is the single window system, which reduces the time it takes to clear goods. And the ICMS system managed by KRA is also another one where clearing of goods, you don't need to move from one office to another. It just moves from one point of approval in the system to another, and you can clear your goods within 30 minutes. And that is a plus. It reduces cost, it reduces time of doing business. We also have targeted promotions, courtesy of Kenya Invest, Ministry of Department of Trade and KEPROB and EPZA. We are now not just promoting, but we want to promote particular industries, heavy industries. Like for a long time we have been promoting textile and apparel, which is just cut, make and trim. But now we want to target the heavy industry, the ginneries, because you find that when we are doing the textile and apparel, we import all the materials. Yet we are doing cotton in Kenya and we have cotton in East Africa. If we can have ginneries that are able to produce quality materials, we'll be able to reduce the cost of doing business and even the time frame required. Government is also putting in place financial institutions like ADC that can help to finance the businesses. And we are also having trade agreements We have signed trade agreements with EU, with Canada, with even we have African Free Continental Trade Agreement. You find that most of our exports are not to African countries. Less than 15% go to Africa. But Africa is where the population is. So we can promote African Free Continental Trade Agreements and the tripartite trade agreements, which is also still within Africa, to encourage trade within Africa. We have all the raw materials, all the minerals, but we send them in primary form. If we can trade within ourselves, we can even get the steel manufactured in Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you. I think you have finished with what our cabinet secretary also said. Intra-Africa trade is at 14%. We need to improve that through quality product. Without any bias, let me bring on board the representative of the Kenya National Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Madam Fatma Bashir. And your question is, what role is KNCCI playing to help smaller enterprise expand into regional and international markets? And remember, our PS is in the house. She would like to hear what you are doing.
Thank you very much, Professor. So just briefly, Kenya National Chambers of Commerce and Industry is the largest private sector organization that spans across all 47 counties. So all the 47 counties have county chapters, and then at the headquarters where I sit is where now we bring together all the different mandated offerings that we have as a chamber. So I want to move to this question pretty quickly because I don't want to regurgitate and say, yes, we do market linkages, yes, we do this. I think this is something that is now plug and play for the chambers, and we're well established for that. So to give you some very quick examples and give you some numbers and crunch them and show you what it is we are doing, especially for the small enterprises, just to respond to your question, I'll talk about the ISOCO platform. ISOCO platform is an e-commerce platform that we put together with a development partner that is available in Tanzania, and it is available in Rwanda and Kenya. And currently we are looking at over 30,000 subscribers onboarded. So two things we are doing. First of all, we are categorizing, and then we're ensuring that we have them in different levels, because initially the whole idea was to get everybody on board and ensure that they understand and appreciate what e-commerce is. But now we need to move to the second phase, where now we are putting the payment engine and ensuring that business can be done between Tanzania and Rwanda. If you look at Rwanda, where they're not very big, Tanzania, where they're not very big on e-commerce, this platform is working very well as a marketplace. Show and push, and a lot of business is going on, and we want to ensure that the whole platform ecosystem works to bring the three countries together so that the smaller players are able to actually begin to enjoy cross-border trade in a meaningful manner at their level. That is one. Secondly, we have a program we're working on with MasterCard, where we have trained over 42,000 small enterprises across the country over a period of 24 to 26 months, slightly over 2 years. And we have disbursed loans worth 400 million on that. And just to give you one success story, we had one of the enterprises beginning, a meat exporter. And as of May, she took a loan of 14 million. And all these are loans that are paid back. So you start off slowly with your 5,000, 10,000, 15. We're looking at 14 million now. That's our top loanee in the program. And this program has got a 67% rate success of returning of funds. And these are the same people we onboard onto ISOCO. And they're the same people who join us for our trade missions. So you can see the chain we're putting together. Thirdly, we're working, and I was happy to hear about DeCook, because we are looking at how we can look at AI to actually be part of the enabler on the ISOCO platform, so that it automatically, when you wake up in the morning, you see who you can sell to, because it has matched need and supply and demand, so that it auto-generates, and that is something that we're working on because the platform is in our hands. In addition to that, we have a network and a family of chambers, and we're starting to bring them closer and closer in Africa, so that our sister chambers across Africa can start to do business with Kenyan enterprises. I think this is one of the lowest hanging fruits that we have, because as sister chambers, we have an unwritten agreement that will facilitate trade among ourselves. So that would include recognition of the certificate of origin and working more closely to address some of the standard issues around that. Because standards can sometimes be technical and stop trade formally, let me say that. But the same products find their way in the market informally. So why don't we make the most of that? And I think the last point I would bring in, addressing the small players, is that we do a lot of inter-county networking programs within counties and inter-county. And what we're trying to do and to achieve there is stabilization of value chains. Because many a time people will jump on very quickly to an Alibaba or somewhere else to look for a raw material that could be available in the next county. So by organizing CEO breakfasts and other networking opportunities within the counties, we are able, first of all, to spur innovation, spur business, strengthen value chains at the local level. So there's more that could be said. Like today morning, we were in a session with She Logistics, which is an IFC-funded program, and we're looking at how now we can ensure that we streamline for the larger exporters. A minimum ticket is 1 million USD. That's the minimum ticket you will be given an opportunity to grow. So I was giving you the bottom end of it, where really there's a lot of enterprises, a lot of SMEs there, and we're offering them, in addition to that, trainings, hand-holding, logistics trainings. But I wanted to give some examples of exactly how the Chambers is playing a role in helping small enterprises expand into regional and international markets. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Fatima. Let's give her a clap. She has brought value chain stabilization. Madam Judy, how can fintech and digital payments improve cross-border trade efficiency and inclusion, lighting on what Madam Fatima has said?
Thank you, Prof. Actually, when Madam Fatima was speaking, I was just nodding because what she's doing is very closely to what we do. We complement the ISOCO because what we do is we facilitate payments, and payments is the backbone of trade. And what you see is that Kenya is one of the highly digitized economies. Our digital payment penetration is at 64%. If you look at other markets like India or Nigeria, their payment digitization is at 18%. So we are quite high thanks to M-Pesa. But what you realize is beyond M-Pesa, beyond Kenya, you cannot use M-Pesa to pay. If you have a trader in China, if you have a trader in the US, then it becomes difficult. So a study looking at the cost of sending, global cost of sending $200, if you want to send money, around $200, the cost is around 6.39%, whereas in Africa, it is 7.39%. And the goal is to bring this cost down to at least 3%, or further in Kenya, our target by the Central Bank of Kenya is 3%, 3 cents cost of transaction. So how are we facilitating this? So one of the things we are looking at is integrating into payment systems that already exist that cover multiple markets. One of them is the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, which is the PAPS, which covers most markets. Today, I think they're covering over 60 banks and almost 13 central banks in Africa, which means that if you want to send money, which is Kenya shilling, and you want to pay somebody in, say, Nigeria, you don't need to convert the Kenya shilling to Nigeria to the dollar and to then back to Nigeria Naira. You can pay directly from Kenya shilling to Naira through the PAP system. That's the kind of facilitation. Because today what happens is you need to have an intermediary bank outside Africa to move money within Africa. So PAP solves for that. We also have the East Africa Payment System, which is closer home, the COMESA digital retail payments. So what these platforms are doing is they're trying to ease payment, drop the cost of sending money across, and which then facilitates trade. Closer here home, the central bank is working on a fast payment system, which is something they've started this year and hoping to launch soon. And this is to basically simplify payment, make it instant, We are now used to instant payment. So I send you and immediately you receive. We really moved away from the days of banks or bank transfers, checks, and now we are looking at instant. So the solutioning we're looking for is how do you then move money instantly across border? And those are the solutions we're looking at. And what are the benefits? One of them is the speed. You want to receive your payment and also make your payment for your goods with speed. Because working capital is key for any trader in business. You want to send that payment at a very low cost, because one of the costs that is hidden is the cost of payment. If businesses took a bit of interest and looked at the cost of payment, you'd be surprised it could be up to 10% of doing your business. Lastly, it's around also transparency and protecting from fraud. And those are some of the things that we're able to facilitate at Network International with our technology and platforms. We're able to ease the way of doing business by offering simplified payment systems, whether it's within Africa or beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Let's give her an applause. So, coming to Mr. Agayo, is that all right? You have heard what our colleagues have said, and the barriers, how they are overcoming barriers. From your perspective, what key barriers hinder regional and international trade, and how can partnership help overcome them?
Thank you very much, Professor, for the question. Before I answer that question, I want to respond to the keynote address by the PS in terms of value add to her comments. And I want to speak to 3 or 4 items. Number 1 is the area around connectivity. She spoke about the guided initiative to export battery, coils, and I think tea from Kenya to Ghana that took 45 days. 45 days is such a long time for businesses to deliver a product. Look at this. From Kenya to Ghana, 45 days. From France, Europe to Ghana takes less time. And the market will not wait for 45 days for a good to arrive. So my first suggestion and recommendation is for us to harness the benefit of Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we must improve our connectivity, either by air or by road or by rail. So we must put investments to support the bilateral agreements. Number 2 is the issue around rules of origin. A number of African countries possibly produce the same products, and they put in non-tariff barriers to protect the locals. As a way of mitigating this, I think we need to fast track in the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement issues around rules of origin, so that to the extent that you are producing a product wholly obtained from your country, then accessibility must be guaranteed. And that will help us to remove the barriers that countries impose. And then lastly, and I think is important, is the area around standardizations in terms of recognition and also harmonization. I see this as being critical for us as a country and Africa to benefit from this Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And then finally to the question, as Shippers Council, our role is to advocate for policies and intervention that enhance efficiencies. So we look at port, airports, and border crossing. As we speak today, cost of imports and exports are extremely high. Compared to Asia, the cost per container in the region is about $5 per kilometer for 20-foot container. In Europe and Asia is about $2 per container per kilometer. So we are not efficient and we are not competitive in terms of even the cost. So these are areas that we need to work in to make our products competitive. I listened to my friend from Biofoods talking about the number of government agencies involved in the businesses. And sadly, they do a good job, yes, but you see a lot of duplication of roles, and so duplication in fees and charges that makes business extremely difficult and uncompetitive. So what we are asking from this meeting is possibly for us to sit back And I want to say that yesterday we had the PS here and say, let's look for solutions. So what are we prescribing as a solution to enhance our trade facilitation? Let's sit back and look at existing policies. What are the COBRA effects of these policies? What are the negative impacts of some of the policies inherent in our production, in the movement of goods, either import or exports? Number two, look at the regulatory environment. I think we are highly regulated. And it's time for us to sit back again and see what regulations can be guillotined, what regulations can be combined, and just to make it more simple. The statistics we have from the Kenya National Single Window is that Kenyans apply for about 4,000 permits per day for various products. And it's costly and it's timely. So if you really want to make manufacturing grow to 15% of the GDP or contribute, then you must take serious interventions towards reducing the cost of logistics, enhancing our infrastructure, and I want to admit we appreciate what the government is doing on the road and the rail. The area that requires immediate intervention is the borders. And here again, we want to say that the CS did well to go to Uganda and also go to the borders. But what we're asking ourselves is 7 kilometers queue good or bad? I hear when it's 7 kilometers, we say we are okay. But the question we want to ask is, what about 0 kilometers? So a truck goes to the border, crosses the border, and goes to the other side. That's what we call trade facilitation. And then to my friend, and she's my friend Teresa here, we also need to balance revenue collection and trade facilitation. Facilitate trade, revenue goes up. Frustrate trade, revenue goes down. And I was just joking with my friend PJ Shah, and he talks about increasing salaries by 20%. I'd love that to happen, but can we pay for it? Let's just reduce the cost of doing business. Let's improve our ports. Let's improve our roads, and also let's improve our systems. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's a good proposition. John Mwenda, CEO, Kenya Invest. You have been pitching Kenya as the best market destination. You have heard what KNCI is saying, Shippers, our colleague from EPSAD, the FinTech, as well as our revenue collectors. As Kenya Invest, how is Kenya Invest positioning Kenya as a preferred destination for export-driven industrial investment, bearing in mind what our colleague has said? John.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us here. I know the day is gone, energy levels are really, sugar levels are low, so I'll keep it fairly straightforward and useful comments from all the panelists. For us, really, the product we have is how to promote Kenya as a conducive place to invest. And while manufacturing still accounts for between 7 and 8% of our GDP, we know we will not succeed to industrialize without manufacturing. And for export, which is an anchor aspect of trade, I don't know whether the number is between 50 to 60% of global trade is made up of manufactured goods. So we are, as Kenya, the largest hub of manufacturing in this region, but several aspects hinder, manufacturing, which is competitiveness. And I know most of the colleagues have spoken about it, competitiveness, predictability, and a few issues, and government is doing its part. For us, really, investors come to Kenya, but they come to take opportunities and advantage in specific sectors. And in manufacturing, like my colleague from EPZ was saying, for example, in the textile sector, is an export-oriented sector that is taking advantage of market in the US, for example. And I know the PS spoke about market access as one of the areas Kenya is doing very well. And I think we concur that there is world-class global markets, nearly $50 trillion plus worth of markets we can sell our goods. But are those goods being made adequately here, competitively here? So for us, We influence policy where we can and we coordinate, but for us it's just to ensure the opportunities in the sectors are clear so that investors can take advantage of them. Where investors exist to undertake export initiatives, we sit at the board of EPZ, we work very closely, for example, for the export promotion agenda, but for anybody else who's producing in this country for both the local and the global market, Kenya is open. And the president, the minister, the PS is here, we are all saying Kenya, the macros are looking up. It doesn't mean that everything is perfect. You know, we are a journey. You know, sometimes some things don't work for various reasons. And if you want to know it is working, you can just step out in another country and check and things. You'll realize we are way better. But there are some things we must do more efficiently, like what my colleague from the Shippers Council is talking about on efficiency, etc. Because the people who promote Kenya more than actually we do are the existing investors, and they become the #1 ambassadors for people who are outside looking in. But for us, we'll not stop. We have to do the advocacy and promote Kenya as a conducive place to do business. If you want to know where you will get a good return, the place is Kenya, in the capital markets introduction. The place is here. And the story is good, it can get better, and we like to champion the initiatives such as what is happening here, and we ensure we can grow our numbers. We only attract about $1.5 billion of investments every year into the country, and if you strip out what has gone to manufacturing, it will still be the largest share, which means it is not all hope is not lost. So we could do a lot, and I know the export agenda is its own experts, but for us, investing for production for export is what we are really looking and keen for. And for that to happen, we must be competitive. We have to have a conducive business climate. We must have predictability. We must have facilitation. Everything must work well. So it's a cocktail of things coming together. I thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Let's give him a hearty clap. We are coming to the end of the panel, but before we close, I want to ask FinTech these questions. In one sentence, what key steps should Kenya prioritize to translate research and innovation into commercially viable industrial solutions that strengthen local manufacturing? In one sentence.
I think for us it's around digitization, because when you digitize, and you've seen the benefits of digitization through payments, your costs go down, speed of commerce becomes fast, and that then improves working capital and improves business. So for me, it's digitization.
Thank you, Madam Jude. Madam PS, you have heard the panelist, Professor Digitization from the university, Madam Digitization from trade perspective. Kindly let's applaud the panelists. I think they can stand, and I want to thank them for your time. Thank you for everything. I also want to bring Mike back to the PS to say something. She will give us a keynote speak, and then she would say something based on the panelist. May the mic be passed through to Madam PS as we take a photo here. Any gift from my team, bring them here.
You can have the speech so that Madam PS can say something.
Thank you very much. I think from this panel discussion, we have picked some key things that we want to take home. One is that we have markets available, even globally, but what we need to ask ourselves, are we making our goods competitive enough so that we can access that market that we have? We are saying our macros are looking very good, so in terms of ensuring that the macroeconomic indicators are working for us, we need to look at things to do with efficiency. We need to look at things to do with our infrastructural development and our connectivity. And finally, the big push around digital technology and digitalization has really come out key. And these are some of the things that we are saying, if we really want to push market access and promote exports and really grow our manufacturing sector, then we really have to prioritize this. And with that, I say thank you to the panelists. I think that session was really engaging, and I also want to thank each one and every one of you for making time and being very patient with us until this hour. I appreciate you all, and God bless you.
Thank you, Madam PS. We have come to the end of the afternoon session. Yes, I'm being informed that we have tea and snack. Please don't leave them. They have been paid for. I want to thank you, and I also want to ask one of the participants at Mostly State Department of Industry, Madam Lydia, you can lead us with a word of prayer as we close. Thank you. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow in the morning from 8.
We can stand for prayer. Father, we thank you for this far we've come. Thank you for good discussions we've had. And thank you for the day that has been successful. As we retire for the day, be with us and watch over us. We bless your name and we worship you. In Jesus' name we pray.